Greetings, Henry. I hear you on the rat-eye tourney. Well done, lad.
So, this investigation into the Neuhof massacre, it's getting a bit complicated.
What have you found out?
I tracked down a gang of robbers who recruited killers for Pribyslavitz. They know the whoresons who torched Neuhof.
That's excellent news. Did you find out any more?
So far, not much. If I'm going to infiltrate them, I have to do what they say. That means murdering one of their former cronies, a fellow they call Pius. Apparently he was at Neuhof too.
You have to kill a criminal to prove yourself to them? Huh. I don't much like the sound of it.
That's not the worst of it. This Pius is hiding out in the monastery pretending to be a novice. I'd have to get inside the cloisters to get at him.
Good God above, that's another matter entirely. They don't let just anyone into the cloisters, and the abbot won't give up any of the novices. Secular law has no jurisdiction inside the monastery. But this is the second time that something untoward has happened there. First the counterfeiters, now this. I'd be glad to have someone take a look inside.
It seems like the only way to find Pius is to join the order. Damned if I know how, though.
A bit of meditation and learning would do you good. If it's really the only way to get to him, then you'll have to do it. I'm sorry I can't be of much help. Sadly, my relations with the monastery aren't entirely congenial. You'll have to figure something out for yourself.
What should I do with Pius once I find him?
Don't kill him. Bring him to the bailiff in Rattay. He'll interrogate the man and give him a fair trial.
It doesn't sound like an easy task, sir. Getting into the cloisters, finding Pius, and then getting him to the bailiff.
Far from it, lad. But I have confidence in your abilities. Goodbye. To the women! God bless them.
I'm glad to see you.
Are you Carl by any chance?
I am. Why do you ask?
I've heard that you're bound for the monastery.
Yes, it's true. But I've convinced my faithful guardian, Manfred, to give me a few more days of freedom. Mind you, he won't let me visit the brothel, so instead I'm devoting those days to the demon drink. With whom do I have the honor of speaking?
My name is Henry.
Pleased to meet you, Henry.
Could we speak in private? I have some, issues with the monastery.
Really? Well, I'd love to talk about it, but we won't have privacy as long as Manfred here has his head permanently stuck up my arse. Get rid of him for me, please.
God be with you.
A tankard of ale for me.
I hope I can be of some humble service to you.
You're Manfred, the young lord's guardian?
Indeed I am. Why?
You must have a mighty thirst. Waiting here with him for days, just watching him get drunk, and not having a sip yourself.
There's no doubt I'd enjoy a drink. Heaven knows I deserve it. But if I dull my senses in the slightest, that rogue will surely get up to mischief.
So let's drink together. And if you start to feel unwell, I'll keep an eye on him. Like you said, you deserve some fun.
I can see you're a reliable lad. So what shall we have to drink? And while we're at it, why not have a little game?
God be with you.
Your fame precedes you. You won't get the better of me. Not afraid of anything, eh? About time he went my way.
Jesus.
Should I? Shouldn't I? No, I daren't.
Jesus, what do I have to do to get a drink here?
Damn! I've had enough.
You said you wouldn't drink today.
Silence! I'm going to sleep. Here's a few coins. Have fun. Tomorrow, we're going to the monastery. Is that clear?
Couldn't you give me more? This isn't even enough for a toothless whore.
It's enough for beer. Good night.
I'll have a beer.
Manfred's taken care of, just as you wanted.
Thank God. He won't let me out of his sight for a second, and he's itching to get me in the monastery so he can head back home.
Why are you being sent to the monastery?
Like every lusty young lad, I'm fond of fair maidens, but I got too fond of one, and let's just say she was, indisposed for 9 months.
But they don't send you to the monastery for that.
They do, when it's the daughter of the Lord of your feet.
Shit.
Shit is putting it mildly. The Lord of Bookover was less than pleased. He knows he'll never marry off his daughter now, so he gave father a choice. Either pay him 1,000 groschen in compensation, along with my balls on a silver platter, or pay 1,000 groschen and put me away somewhere no one will ever see me again.
Why does your guardian never leave your side?
So I don't run away. Of course, I'm free to walk around, but he watches every step I take and won't stop until I'm behind the monastery walls.
Well, he's not watching you now.
What good is that to me when he has all the money, and even my saddle and riding cloak under lock and key?
Why don't you just run away?
Bare arsed. What the hell would I do? I don't know how to work, I have no money, and that old bastard's even taken my cloak. He has me in the palm of his hand.
But there are poor people everywhere and they get by somehow.
If I have to choose between hunger and poverty on one hand and the monastic life on the other, I'm afraid the monastery wins. If I could only steal that old man's pouch, I'd be gone faster than lightning and no one would ever see me again.
That's all then.
See you later.
I've got what you need.
Excellent. Give me the purse. You can do as you like with the ring.
Here you are.
Good luck, no matter what you plan on doing with those monks. Best be on your way now before Manfred finds out that he's been robbed.
And what are you going to do?
Get my things together and disappear. I want to be as far away as possible before that old man even knows I'm gone. See you later.
I'm Carl. I'm supposed to enter as a novice.
We expected you sooner. Weren't you supposed to come here with your guardian? It's been so hectic lately, people will keep turning up out of the blue.
He gave me the papers and left me at the gate. You must be used to that, though. I'm not the first novice here, am I?
But that wasn't very considerate of him, was it? It's been so hectic here lately, novices arriving one after the other. The last one didn't even have a letter, and you'd think his backside was on fire, the way he kept looking over his shoulder.
You took him without the letter? You didn't find that suspicious?
My guess is he wanted to hide from someone, but he's a priest and knows how things work in the monastery, so there was nothing to prevent him from being accepted, at least temporarily. You're a different case, though. Are you able to read?
Naturally. I wouldn't be here otherwise.
So then, are you ready to enter the Order of Saint Benedict and renounce forever the temptations of this world?
I am.
Then you must rid yourself of all your worldly possessions. Sell them or give them to the poor and needy or donate them to the monastery. You may not enter this place burdened by worldly goods. Inside the gatehouse is a trunk in which you will find monk's robes. Put away all your possessions and dress yourself in the habit. Then you may rest a while I go and see the prior to arrange matters for your acceptance. Farewell.
Strange feeling being without all of that. I didn't realise how much I'd grown used to it.
Everything's prepared. It's time for you to take your vows.
Do I really have to wear this?
You'd better get used to it. You'll be wearing it for the rest of your life.
Brothers in Christ, we have gathered here today to welcome a new novice into our midst. Dear brother, forget your former life and embrace your new vocation in the community of the monks of St. Benedict. Opus Dei, obedientia, obprobria, the service of God, obedience, and endurance of all discomfort. These are the cornerstones and succor of our order, which on this day shall become your own. Suscipe me, Domine, secundum eloquium tuum, et vivam. Et non confundas me ab expectatione mea.
Suscipe me, Domine, secundum
in loquium tuum vivam, et non confundas me ab expectatione me.
Accept your new name, Brother Gregor, and wear it with honor. Welcome, brother.
Welcome, brother. I am Antonius, a novice like you. I've been instructed to guide you around the monastery and tell you what you can expect and what your duties will be.
Thanks for helping me out during the ceremony. I had no idea what I was supposed to do.
You don't know Latin, do you? Don't worry. Work in the scriptorium will teach you fast enough. Why exactly are you here? Was it your choice? Or did someone force you to come?
I'm being punished. If it were up to me, I'd still be spending my days in taverns and my nights with whores.
I don't envy you. Unfortunately, you're here for the rest of your life.
Would you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a novice and I'm here because I'd make a poor merchant. I like books and I want an education. Although I must say, so far the monastic life's been quite unexpected.
Let's go then.
Good. But before we do, here's a letter directly from the prior telling you all your regular duties from tomorrow onwards. Make sure to read it this evening, so you know how things work. Right, we can go now. Follow me closely. I'll explain everything as we go. Remember one word: discipline. It's your job to work and pray. You serve the Lord now, not your own bodily needs. Peace be with you, brother. This is the way to the dormitory, where we all sleep. You'll find a free bed there, which is now yours. Do you know the first thing the monastery taught me? To appreciate sleep. We rise before dawn every day. Takes a bit of getting used to.
Salve Domine.
This is the garden, a place for silent contemplation and meditation. Centuries ago, this monastery was founded by the most esteemed of brothers, Saint Procopius. His earthly remains can be found in a cave under the monastery, and his spirit wanders the corridors at night, punishing any misbehaving novices. So beware. Here are the frattery and scriptorium, together with the library. These are the places where we work. Ora et labora. Pray and work. As a novice, you must always listen to your superior brethren, and above us monks are the prior and the circators, who punish every infraction. You'll know them by the canes they carry. Do what they say. This is the refectory, where we come together to eat. During meals, you must be silent. Only one brother reads aloud from the Rule of Saint Benedict.
The rule is the only law we recognize, with the exception of those from God himself. If you break any of its precepts, expect a swift punishment. But I've already told you about the circuit. The library, the pride of our monastery, a trove of learning. We don't just read books here, we also copy them. You too will learn how.
And that's all. Today you are still free from duty, but tomorrow you begin work like the others. If you need anything, ask any of the brothers. We'll be glad to help you. And I recommend you get to know the other novices. You already know me. Then there is Siskin, Yodok, and Lucas.
Thanks for showing me around. There's a lot to learn here. Will you tell me something about yourself?
There's not much to tell. I lived in Vlashim, and after my father died, I found out I wasn't much of a merchant. So I left the shop to my brother and decided to become a monk. It's peaceful here. There's food and lots of time to read.
So you chose to come here?
It may seem strange, but I'm one of the few novices that did. I might be the only one. The truth is, the idea of spending my life in a monastery was more appealing than being cooped up in a greasy old shop.
It occurred to me you might be the man to ask. I'm looking for some lockpicks. Do you know anyone in the monastery who could help me?
Lockpicks? You surprise me, brother. And you, a nobleman's son. But you could ask Brother Salarius. They say he used to be a thief.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Who's in charge of things around here?
Truthfully, everyone except us. But officially, Abbot Peter. And soon enough, someone else. As if it mattered. Our life will still be work and prayer.
I see. Are there any rifts between the brothers?
Yes. From the moment talk began about electing a new abbot, it's been like a hornet's nest here. Strange you haven't noticed.
Tell me something about electing the abbot.
Abbot Peter is old. When he dies, they'll have to select a new abbot from amongst the brethren. The candidates are John and Nevlas. And if you ask me for my opinion, Nevlas is definitely the right man. Unfortunately, no one cares about my opinion because novices get no say.
Tell me something about life here.
Work, prayer, as if you didn't know. We serve God, and that's the central truth of our lives.
What are the roles of the various monks here?
Someone takes care of the library, someone else the garden. The abbot supervises everyone, and in his absence, the prior. But it's the circators you should worry about. They're the brothers who'll make sure we observe the rule. They can be quite strict, so if you want to avoid getting punished, always act righteously and do your duties honestly.
My name's Gregor, a novice.
You can call me Siskin. Are you here of your own free will, or is this a punishment? Although it's not important. Welcome to Purgatory.
Did you say purgatory?
You'll see soon enough. Soon enough.
Will you tell me something about yourself?
Look, nothing against you, but I prefer not to talk about my past.
Are you hiding something? Why are you so reluctant to tell me anything about yourself?
I'm hiding a lousy past that I'd rather forget. I hate to think of all I lost when they stuck me in here. And also because I really hate the question, aren't you the son of the famed Sir Smil Flashka of Pardubitz? I was rich and I had everything. But then my father began to feel his time approaching, so he decided to send a son to the monastery. And, being the youngest, the lot fell on me. I've no head for managing the estate, and they said I'd squander it. Can you imagine? Me in a monastery. So I took what coin I could from home with me, so I didn't lose out completely.
But you didn't have to come here if you didn't want to.
No, not if I didn't mind being left to beg alms by the city gate. I had one choice, the monastery or nothing. If it had come to that after my father's death, so be it. But to get rid of me while he's still alive...
They must have realized you robbed them.
I donated some of the silver to the monastery when I came in, just to piss them off. I can just see my my siblings, arguing with the abbot to give it back.
And you stashed away the remainder?
Indeed so.
What's your plan with this treasure?
to get out of here as soon as I can. I'll wait another year or two until my hot-headed brothers cool off a bit, and then I'll take the silver and run off somewhere, far, far away from here.
That's all I wanted to know.
Please, keep it to yourself, especially the part about the coin.
How is it that you don't get any penance for missing morning prayers?
I've paid off the circators to turn a blind eye. And the other monks don't notice as long as you show your face there from time to time. No one's too awake at that time of the morning.
I'd be interested to hear what you think about the other novices. Tell me about Antonius.
Oh, if there was a monk I'd recommend as a friend, with of course the exception of myself, it would be Antonius. He has a calm soul, he's easy to talk to, and you can always rely on him.
That's all. Thanks. Who would you elect, Abbot, if you could?
Most likely Nevlas. He's a fine fellow and he seems honest. But, truth be told, it doesn't matter much to me. A monastery will still be a monastery, no matter who's in charge. If you really want to talk more about it, ask Antonius. He seems to have taken an interest.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery.
Done to you this time, brother? They're shirking their responsibilities. Someone's weeding in the garden again?
Yet again. I've had enough of it.
What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Are there ever any disagreements between the brothers?
Unfortunately, yes. The biggest quarrels right now are about the election of the new abbot. They can already see poor Peter in his grave.
Tell me something about electing the abbot.
The old abbot is practically on his deathbed. There are two candidates. Half the monastery wants John, the other half Nevlas. And there's no chance they'll come to an agreement. But you've probably already noticed the atmosphere around here.
Tell me about John.
John is a circator and the oldest brother here. It would be only natural if he took the crosier from Peter. He has experience, merit and composure. He'd lead the monastery wisely.
I'd like to know about Nevlas.
Nevlas manages the monastery's property. He doesn't have the most experience, but his drive and heart are pure, his faith firm, and his ideas rational. Although perhaps he's too keen to change our routines here, which many brothers don't like.
Why does it matter so much who wins?
Because the future direction of the monastery hangs in the balance. The younger brothers feel they have to work more than their superior brothers, and that some brothers are more concerned with their own comfort than with worshipping God. The older brothers take a different view. They say the younger monks want privileges they haven't earned, and each side has its own candidate.
I thought politics weren't part of the monastic way of life.
You're right. But we know nothing besides the monastery, and the abbot's decision can influence our entire life. Some of the brothers take it very personally.
Can you tell me something about the rule of St. Benedict?
7 centuries ago, Saint Benedict of Nursia wrote a collection of monastic rules, which we still follow today. They're read at every meal. The fundamental precepts are obedience, work, and prayer. We're fully devoted to serving God. The outside world beyond the monastery walls is foreign to us.
Do you never want to know what's going on out there?
And what should be going on? The sky is just as blue, and the grass is just as green. Perhaps the rulers change, but the greatest ruler of them all will remain unchanged through the ages.
What can you tell me about the novices here?
What can I say? You're here to demonstrate your devotion to God and to live a monastic life. After a year, you can make your vows and become a fully fledged brother.
I meant something specific about the brothers that are here.
But you know them yourself. Yodok is an odd one, but he's diligent and eager. Perhaps too eager. Siskin is good company, but a bit too worldly for a monk. Antonius is hard-working and will help you with anything, but prays less than he ought. Lucas is as quiet as a mouse, and no one knows much about him. And then we have you, about who I know nothing.
Can you leave the monastery?
Where would you go? You have everything you need here. Anyway, all the doors here are closed and locked tight so no one can get in or out.
Peace be with you, brother.
Who would you like to be the new abbot?
I've thought long and hard about it, and I've decided to support John.
Today's food. What do they do in that kitchen? I'll bet they keep the tastiest morsels for themselves and give us the slop that's left over.
The food's definitely gone downhill. I remember back when we ate like kings.
I know why. Those were the...
Gloria in excelsis Deo, et in
Greetings, brother. I'm Gregor, and I'm new here.
Greetings to you, brother. I'm Yodok, the oldest of the novices. I hope you'll like it here in the monastery and that you won't get into trouble.
Trouble?
You're young, perhaps intemperate. You might easily stray from the rules of the order. I suggest you get to know the older monks. You never know when it might come in handy.
Can you tell me something about yourself?
I would if there was anything noteworthy to say. But I'm just the ordinary son of a landowner, now a monk. There's nothing in my past, present, or future that anyone could find interesting.
Why did you join the monastery?
Because it was better than living in poverty. As the youngest son, I'm not entitled to inherit my father's estate, but he was kind enough to sell off some cattle and send me here. And you know what? I'm glad to be here. It's better than mucking out manure.
Who would you vote for as the new abbot if you could?
Why do you care? We don't have the right to vote, so we shouldn't get mixed up in it.
I'm just interested, that's all.
I like John better. But like I've said, it's not our place to get involved. It's enough that Antonius is mixed up in it. Don't you start too.
I'm interested in the other novices. What can you tell me about Siskin?
Oh, he's always got a smile on the new friend. But I reckon he don't belong in the monastery. He spends more time dreaming of the world outside than tending to his duties. I'm surprised he hasn't been thrown out already. If it was up to me, he'd be out on his ear right away.
Sounds like you don't have much time for him.
I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him. Believe me, Gregor, he's hiding something from us. In fact, now I come to think of it, I haven't seen him at morning prayers for a while.
Do you know anything about Antonius?
Only that he came to the monastery voluntarily, because he didn't want to work in his father's shop. Antonius is all right. You can rely on him. He won't betray your confidence. He's always happy to help, which is more than can be said for the other brothers.
What do we have here? A nice sharp dagger. Now what would a monk need that for?
Servus.
I'm Gregor, a novice.
I know. I saw you at the ceremony. My name is Nebulus, and I'm the provost here. I'm in charge of the monastery's property, as well as handling trade with the outside world.
That means you get to leave the monastery?
No, not at all. I just write lists and send them out.
Tell me about yourself.
I'm the provost of this monastery. It's my job to ensure the monks live a humble life and that any surpluses go to the poor. But in reality, I spend all my time making sure my brother's gluttony and the construction of a new church don't swallow up the few resources we have left.
I'm interested in the election of the new abbot.
You're not alone. Everyone's so worked up about that they spent no time considering how they could make the monastery a better place now.
Why? What's wrong with it now?
Many brothers think more about their stomachs than prayer. The older brethren bend the rules of the order to make them fit their interests. So, to balance the scales, they want the novices to lead exemplary lives. Sin abounds here, just as in the outside world.
What sins are you talking about?
The scripture says, "Let he who is without sin cast the first stone." I'm sorry, Gregor, it's not my place to speak about the sins of others.
Can you tell me about Abbot Peter?
Peter's wise in the ways of politics and a good shepherd, but as you've already heard, he's old and infirm. The other brothers see him with one foot in the grave, but I still have hope for him. But you, brother, don't let yourself get involved in the games of your superiors. Could you help me with something?
With what?
I'm interested in medicine, and I know there's a cure for the abbot's ailment. With your help, I could find out the details, and together you and I could give old Peter a few more years to do good. What do you say?
You can count on my help. What do you need me to do?
In order to get the recipe for this medicament, a few rules will need to be broken. Now you know most of the brothers believe every illness is a message from God, and that it's not our place to deny his will. I, however, think if God sent us not just illnesses, but also the medicine to cure them, then it's our duty to relieve people of their suffering. The cure for Abbot Peter's illness could be contained in one of the books in our library, but it will certainly be amongst the Libri Prohibiti, the forbidden books, those we aren't permitted to read.
Why are they forbidden?
Because they contain occult and demonic practices, witchcraft and all manner of evil. Or so some people claim. It's nonsense, of course. This is nothing but a book of medicine, albeit one written by a pagan. Ibn Sina, also known as Avicenna, is universally acknowledged to be a wise man. But here, at some point, someone decided his book is the work of a Saracen devil and must be kept under lock and key. Since then, no one can even talk about the book. But the three wise men were from the East, were they not?
Where can I find it?
In the library, there's a large cabinet with a lock on it. The forbidden books are inside. You'll easily recognize what you're looking for. The cover has not only a Latin inscription, but also Saracen letters. Bring it to me, but leave the other books there. No one will notice if one book disappears, but if more were to vanish, someone would certainly begin to look into it, which is exactly what we don't want.
Is there anything you can tell me that would help?
There's a key to the cabinet in the prior's chambers. The librarian should have another one, or you can acquire some lockpicks. But I can't tell you where or how. Perhaps Brother Celerius could help.
I'm ready.
One more important thing. There's always someone in the library during the day. To pass unwatched, you'll need to go at night. It's locked, but I'm sure you'll manage to get in. They say Brother Celerius understands locks, but don't tell him why you need it. Once you have the book, bring it to me, and I'll then use it to make Peter's medicine. We'll soon have the election of the abbot over and done with.
Is there any way I could help you get elected? Somehow tip the scales in your favour?
What would you like to do? Climb up the tower and shout, "Vote for Nevillus, vote for Nevillus"?
Not exactly. You do have an opponent, John.
John isn't my opponent, he's my brother. Just like you and everyone else here. We're all brothers in Christ. But there is something you could help me with. You must know there's a great deal of iniquity here in the monastery. I'd be interested to hear of anything I don't know about.
Should I find out for you what's going on around here?
Let me make this clear. I want to base my candidacy on putting things in order. But if I don't know exactly what's wrong, then my promises are just empty slogans.
Very good then. I'll find out what I can.
Thank you, brother.
I'll say one thing, brother. This wine would grace the Pope's table.
I'm not so sure. It's a bit sour. God knows what's in it.
Don't be absurd. It's a first-class cask, direct from Zneumann.
No, I know the taste of a good vintage and dip.
You've seen us drinking here, so either join in or swear you won't tell a soul. You won't want to end up like Lucas now, would you?
All right. I wouldn't mind some wine.
That's more like it. Sit down and have a drink, my lad. Quite right, brother. Just sit down and drink with us. When the wine runs out, Yorick will fetch more.
Talk to me, brother.
What are you doing here?
What does it look like, drinking?
But we're all monks.
Youngster, when you're as old as I, you'll understand.
Why not? I've had enough opprobria and obedientia for one day.
That's what we like to hear.
You mentioned Yodok. What does he do for you?
Well, nothing much. He's just a little suckling like you. He'll do whatever it takes to stay on our good side. Sometimes we make use of him when there are errands to run.
Where'd you get the wine from? I thought the monastery cellars were guarded.
So they are. But this wine isn't from the monastery. Listen, lad, would you help us out with something? This cask is almost empty and we need a new one. We're a bit old for such exertions, but you, on the other hand...
I'll help you. What do I need to do?
Ha! I knew it. Help Novice Yorick arrange for a new cask. Talk to him first thing in the morning, and by tomorrow night, the cask can be on the table.
All right, I'll talk to him. I found this piece of parchment. It looks like it's been ripped out of a book.
I've no idea. Why don't you ask Brother Librarian?
About you in the election, will you tell me more about it?
Ask me anything you want.
Tell me something about Nevlas.
Nevlas is weak and toothless. He's full of hot hair. How anyone could think he'd make a good abbot is beyond me. Enough. I don't even want to hear his name again.
I'd like to know what's going on here.
Well, the young brothers feel they don't have the same rights and responsibilities as we, who have spent much of our lives here. And what of it? Privilege needs to be earned. Nevlas is lying when he says he wants to right wrongs. All he cares about are benefits for himself and his cronies.
Thank you for answering. Let's drink.
That's the idea. And what should we drink to?
How about to the abbot?
To the abbot it is. But wait a minute, lad. Which one?
To Abbot John.
That's more like it.
Let's play.
Just the man we've been waiting for, my friend. So, let's play.
I'll say one thing, brother. This wine would grace the Pope's table.
I'm not so sure. It's a bit sour.
Don't be absurd. It's a first-class cask. Direct from the stewing.
Oh, I know. It tastes like...
What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
I was talking last night with the Brother Cicators. It seems you're to fetch them a cask of wine, like last time.
Well, yes, it's true.
I'd like to help you.
Would you really do it? To get hold of the wine, we'll have to leave the monastery for a bit. I know it's forbidden, but we've no other option. If wine started going missing here, someone would notice. But to leave the monastery, we need the keys. And only the prior has those.
Wait a moment. Are you saying I'm supposed to steal the prior's keys so I can go and steal wine somewhere else?
You see why I don't want to do it myself now, do you? I don't have what it takes. I can't get those keys, but you could. Or you might be able to pick the locks.
But you've done it once before, haven't you?
Last time the prior was sick, and he left the monastery keys in the Circator's care. So they unlocked the gates for me. This time we'll have to steal the keys.
How can I get hold of the keys, do you think?
I don't know, but it might be possible to do this without them. Brother Celerius, the cellar keeper, used to be a burglar. He knows his way around locks, and maybe could help us, if you could find a way to arrange it.
Do you think he'll want to take part in theft?
No, but he could give some advice, or maybe get some lockpicks to open the gate. You'll figure something out.
If you think so, I can try.
Once you have the key or some lockpicks, come and see me and we'll make our plan.
I'm interested in the other novices. What can you tell me about Siskin?
Oh, he's always got a smile on the new friend. But I reckon he don't belong in the monastery. He spends more time dreaming of the world outside than tending to his duties. I'm surprised he hasn't been thrown out already. If it was up to me, he'd be out on his ear right away.
Est
times for each may be prescribed as follows. From Easter until the calends of October, when they come out from the line in the morning, let them labor at whatever is necessary until about the 4th hour. And from the 4th hour until about the 6th, let them apply themselves to reading. After the 6th hour, having left the table, let them rest on their beds in perfect silence, or if anyone may perhaps want to read, let him read to himself in such a way as not to disturb anyone else. Let none ere be said rather early at the middle of the 8th hour, and let them again do what work has to be done until vespers. Weak or sickly brethren should be assigned a task or craft of such a nature as to keep them from idleness, and at the same time not to overburden them or drive them away with excessive toil. Their weakness must be taken into consideration by the abbot. The rule of Saint Benedict, readings on daily manual labor. Idleness is the enemy of the soul. Therefore, the brethren should be occupied at certain times in manual labor, and again at fixed hours in sacred reading. To that end, we think that the times for each may be prescribed as follows. From Easter until the calends of October. When they come out from prime in the morning, let them labor at whatever is necessary until about the 4th hour. And from the 4th hour until about the 6th, let them apply themselves to reading. After the 6th hour, having left the table, let them rest on their beds in perfect silence, or if anyone may perhaps want to read, let him read to himself in such a way as not to disturb anyone else. Let none ere be said rather early at the middle of the 8th hour, and let them again do what work has to be done until vespers. Weak or sickly brethren should be assigned a task
Peace be
or
with you,
craft
brother.
of such a nature as to keep them from idleness, and at the same time not to overburden them or drive them away with excessive toil. Their weakness must be taken into consideration by the abbot. The rule of Saint Benedict. Readings on the abbot. Therefore, when anyone receives the name of abbot, he ought to govern his disciples with a twofold teaching. That is to say, he should show them all that is good and holy, by his deeds even more than by his words, expounding the Lord's commandments in words to the intelligent among his disciples, but demonstrating the divine precepts by his actions for those of harder hearts and ruder minds. The abbot should always remember what he is and what he is called, and should know that to whom more is committed, from him more is required. Let him make no distinction of persons in the monastery. Let him not love one more than another, unless it be one whom he finds better in good works or in obedience. And let him not shut his eyes to the faults of offenders, but, since he has the authority, let him cut out those faults by the roots as soon as they begin to appear. Remembering the fate of Heli, the priest of Silent, the well-disposed and those of good understanding, let him correct with verbal admonition the first and second time. But bold, hard, proud, and disobedient characters he should curb at the very beginning of their ill-doing by stripes and other bodily punishments, knowing that it is written, the fool is not corrected with words. And again, beat your son with the rod, and you will deliver his soul from death.
Ah, Gregor, talk to me.
I've discovered something about the wrongs being committed here.
I see. Tell me more.
The Circators go into the cellar at night to drink wine.
I thought so. John always reeks of it. And he wants to be abbot. Hypocrite. Perhaps if you told the prior, that would clip John's wings.
Brother Yodok has been stealing wine for the cicadas so they can drink.
Yodok? Well, that little rat's shown his true colours. Do you know where he's stealing it from?
I don't know, unfortunately.
No matter. You've brought me important information.
Brother Siskin is hiding treasure he owned before he became a monk.
It doesn't surprise me. It's not the first time that's happened, and it won't be the last. I wouldn't punish him, but you can talk to him about it. Perhaps God will guide him, and he'll gladly give up his mammon.
That's all I know.
If you find out anything else, come to me. I'd be interested to hear it.
I'm here to work.
Excellent. I've been waiting for you. There's the alchemist's laboratory. You'll find ingredients in the chests next to it. Concoct 2 buck's blood potions. Once you finish them, you'll find me somewhere nearby. Don't forget to let me know when you're done so I can check them. Peace be with you. Ah, Gregor, talk to me.
I've finished my work.
Show me what you've made. Spectacular, Gregor. You've found your talent. Soon enough, you'll be teaching the other novices.
I'm Gregor, a novice. I saw you at the ceremony.
I know. It was hard not to notice you.
And you are?
Lucas, also a novice. Don't get upset, but I don't want to talk to you. I'm happiest alone.
In the night, I overheard the cicadas in the cellar. They were talking about you.
Oh, no. So it's still not over. This isn't a life in service of God. This is purgatory.
Lucas, what's going on?
What do you think? Just like you, I saw the cicadas drinking and playing hazard as if they were in a brothel.
We should report them.
I agree. I warned them if they didn't stop, I'd go and tell the prior. But instead of mending their ways, they vented their anger on me. You've picked the wrong people to make enemies of, Lucas, they told me. Now I can't even count how many days and nights I've spent locked up in solitary confinement for the tiniest offenses, or for no offense at all.
Is there something I can do to help?
Would you? I think all it might take is for you to go and sit down with them, have a talk, set things straight, then they'd leave me alone. But I'm afraid even this path leads nowhere. They'd probably start hounding you as well.
I'm not afraid of them.
Brother, you have the courage I lack. May the grace of God be upon you.
I'd like to know something about the other novices.
I don't know much, but ask away.
What can you tell me about Siskin?
Not a lot. I don't know him. Actually, I don't know much about him at all, except that he's not a stickler for rules.
Do you know anything about Yodok?
I don't. He doesn't like me, and he's on very friendly terms with the Circators. That's about it.
Tell me about Antonius.
I'd like to, but there's nothing to tell. I've never spoken to him. I've never asked about him.
Are you joking? Don't you know anyone at all here?
Why should I?
Well, I'd thought you might want to know who you'll be spending the rest of your life with. I definitely do. In fact, I probably already know more about them than you do.
Don't get upset. I'm sorry I can't tell you more. I just haven't felt like getting to know anyone yet.
Will you tell me something about yourself?
There's nothing I can tell you.
I mean, where you're from, what sort of life you had before, that sort of thing.
I'm a novice, and my monastic name is Lucas. Nothing else matters.
Come on. Is there really nothing at all you can tell me?
I could, but I don't want to. I'm sorry. I want to stay focused on work and prayer, not on who I once was. I never will be again. What has been isn't important for us. We cast the past aside when we walked through the monastery gates and took our oath. Never forget that.
If you could, who would you vote for to be the abbot?
But I can't vote, so what's the point of worry? Ask Antonius. He often talks about it, and I'm sure he has an opinion.
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Well, that's all. Thank you for your time, brother.
Ah, Gregor, talk to me.
In the middle of the night, I saw the brother Circators drinking and playing dice.
How marvelous! Did you join in? More importantly, can I join in next time?
Siskin? I thought it wasn't allowed.
If the Circators can, we all can.
That's not how it works, though, is it?
I know. A double standard. The elder brothers can do as they please, but they're the ones preaching about morality to us.
I'm still curious about this treasure trove of yours.
It's no big terrible secret. Really, it isn't. I just go and read during services. There's no time otherwise. I mean, at other times I don't get to read what I like. And I keep it under the slab so the others don't find it.
What kind of a book is it?
I found it here in the library. It was on a shelf where it should never have been. So I hid it to read later. It's the Necronomicon. Ghosts, demons, and invocations of powers beyond our world. Only it's written in a strange language that I can't really make sense of. All bara this and bara that. Who knows what it means? I tried to count the syllables, read the words backwards, but nothing. I'm not getting anywhere with it.
Oh, I'm not too sure what the prior or the Cicator would say about a book like that. Actually, what anyone would say. It sounds quite prohibited.
Ah, prejudice. But you're right, it is prohibited. For no good reason, though. Has knowledge ever done anybody any harm?
You're right. Knowledge should never be prohibited.
Oh, I'm glad you agree. Just take a look at the book. Maybe you'll be able to make some sense of it. I haven't grasped a single syllable. Just please don't tell anyone about the book. If the brothers learn that I took it from the library and hid it, I'll be in a lot of trouble. Our brothers' minds are closed to a thirst for knowledge.
There's a lot of coin in the stash. You have to admit it looks suspicious.
I admit it might look that way. But if I tell you what I'm hiding from everybody, I think you'll understand why. I hate to think of all I lost when they stuck me in here. And also because I really hate the question, aren't you the son of the famed Sir Smil Flashka of Pardubitz? I was rich and I had everything. But then my father began to feel his time approaching, so he decided to send a son to the monastery. And, being the youngest, the lot fell on me. I've no head for managing the estate, and they said I'd squander it. Can you imagine? Me in a monastery. So I took what coin I could from home with me, so I didn't lose out completely.
What about the dagger?
That's a memento of better times. Father gave me that when I was a little lad. And it's done right by me more than once, when I got drunk somewhere with the wrong sort of people.
Do you know how to fight?
And how? Boozing and brawling. God, how I miss that here.
Tell me more about the book.
I found it here in the library. It was on a shelf where it should never have been. It's the neck... Who knows?
Oh.
Ah.
You're right.
Oh, I'm glad you... Just...
I'll tell the abbot. I'm sure he'll be keen to hear what the monks get up to instead of prayer.
What? A man pours his heart out to you when you play Judas. How about this for an offer? Say a word about this to anyone and I'll wring your neck. Touch anything I've buried here and you'll get the same. Are we clear?
Now they hurt again, but worse than last time. I tell you,
What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
I'm looking for something a little, unorthodox.
And what would that be exactly?
I'm looking for lockpicks.
Lockpicks? And what would you like those for?
I'd like to practice opening locks, just for the fun of it.
Well, why not? So you heard I used to be a burglar, did you? I put it all behind me as soon as I took the vows. But I do have a few lockpicks left. I'll trade them for food. Get me a bite to eat, and you can have your lockpicks. Can't say fairer than that, can I?
What troubles you?
I found a dagger in your stash.
And why shouldn't you have? I did hide it there after all. Do you often go through other people's belongings?
Well then, I have a question for you. I think you know what it is. What does a monk need a dagger for?
That dagger's the only thing I have left of my father. It was in our old shop, under the counter. Father kept it there to protect himself from thieves. When I was little, I admired that dagger so much. I asked Father if he'd give it to me when I was older. He always said yes, but only after he was dead.
Go on, please.
Now Father's dead and I'm here. That piece of steel is the only thing I have left from the outside world. I know it's not suitable for a monk, but I can't part with it. Now you can give it back to me. Thou shalt not steal.
Here it is.
Thank you. It means a lot to me.
In the night, I saw the brother cicadas drinking and playing dice.
And why aren't you spending your nights sleeping instead of creeping around spying on your brothers?
I only wanted to...
I know, brother, I know. But you need to understand that novices shouldn't be poking their noses into the affairs of elder brothers.
Even if something inappropriate was going on?
Even then, I'm afraid. Who are you compared with them? Wait till you know what's what, and in the meantime keep your head down and do what you're told. Life in a monastery is much like life outside in many ways. The monastery walls don't keep out human pride and hatred.
Really? I thought monks were above that sort of human folly.
They became monks, Gregor, but that didn't stop them being men. Be on your guard as much as you ever were outside. Lies, jealousy, vengeance. They can hurt you here as much as anywhere.
Thanks for the advice, although I don't know if I can follow it.
That's up to you, brother.
My joints started aching just before they raised Scalus, and now they hurt again.
I'm Gregor and I'm new here.
I know. I saw you in the church during ceremony. I have the feeling we'll be meeting again soon, and often. You see, I'm the circator.
What does that mean?
I make sure everyone observes the rule, does their work, and that everything's the way it should be.
When it's not the way it should be?
Then we're authorized to mete out punishment. But certainly you won't require correction, will you, brother?
Brother Cicator, my friend.
What would you like? To be relieved from duties?
No, I'm here because of Novice Lucas. I've heard there's some discord with him.
Only because that weasel wants to put an end to our nighttime fun. So we're letting him know who's in charge here.
I'd appreciate it if you treat him like a brother again.
If he isn't afraid of us, there's nothing to stop him ratting us out. But what do you care, anyway? Grown fond of him, have you?
He hates you because you trample all over him and he has nothing to lose. If you show him just a bit of kindness, he'll think again about taking you on. You'll see.
Fine. You've convinced me. You can tell him things have been straightened out, but he'd better be on his best behavior from now on. Beware of Lucas. He might corrupt you.
What do you mean?
He's a sodomite, a sinner. He might try to get you into the habit, or out of it.
I didn't know that. Thanks for the warning. I spoke to the cicadas about how they've been treating you.
Really? Did you manage to convince them to leave me alone?
But you have to promise not to tell anyone what you saw them doing. Then they'll leave you alone.
That's a promise I'd be glad to make. I'm forever in your debt, brother. Because now I know I can trust you. There's something I want to tell you. It's about Brother Antonius. I wouldn't like to say something that isn't true. God forbid I should cause harm by my words, but this is something I'm sure of. Novice Antonius is lying to us.
What makes you say that?
He claims he's a merchant's son from Vlashim, and that he joined the order voluntarily. The thing is, I spent a great deal of time in Vlashim. I know it like the back of my hand, and no one even remotely like Antonius has ever lived there.
Are you sure? Because this could mean that...
It's true, or Canute isn't my name. That would be my secular name, by the way, but that's not important. I know Vlashim, and I know the local merchants there, and I've never seen Antonius among them. Why would he be lying if he had nothing to hide?
Thank you for telling me. I'll look into it. Will you tell me something about yourself?
There's nothing I can tell you.
I mean, where you're from, what sort of life you had before, that sort of thing.
I'm a novice, and my monastic name is Lucas. Nothing else matters.
Come on.
What has...
I've heard that you,
What? How do you know that?
The cicadas told me.
They'll never leave me in peace. Yes, you can call me a sodomite, a sinner, a monster, the spawn of Satan. But tell me this, Gregor. Can I help the way I am? I tell you, it's a test of my faith. A test so daunting you can't even imagine it.
You're right. I found it interesting, but I'm not judging you. You are the way you are. You should be true to yourself.
I'm glad you aren't like the others. Thank you for not passing judgment. I swear to God, I've never lain with another man. I've never sinned. When my father wanted me to find a wife and start a family, I told him the truth, and he had me sent here. And in a way, I was glad. My guilt had been consuming me, and I knew in the monastery I'd find peace. The Lord sees my soul, and he knows it's pure.
What would you like?
About those keys.
Did you get them? Keys? Or at least lockpicks?
Yes, I have them.
In that case, come before midnight to the cloister garden. I'll be waiting for you there, and we'll head off.
I'm interested in the other novices. I'm interested in Lucas.
Nobody knows much about Lucas. He keeps himself to himself. If you ask me, he's got something to hide. I'd keep well clear of him if I was you.
Do you have any grounds for suspecting him of something?
Quite a lot. And also none at all. The circators who make the rounds despise him, and they'd never punish anyone without cause.
What can you tell me about Siskin?
Oh, he's always got a smile on the new friend. But I reckon he don't belong in the monastery. He spends more time dreaming of the world outside than tending to his duties. I'm surprised he hasn't been thrown out already. If it was up to me, he'd be out on his ear right away.
Sounds like you don't have much time for him.
No, I don't. He isn't a proper monk, and he doesn't belong here.
What troubles you?
I'm still curious about this.
It's no big, terrible secret. Real.
I'll leave you be.
Thank you. And please, Gregor, don't mention it.
I'd be interested. I'm interested in Yodok.
What could interest you about...
That doesn't sound too...
It wasn't meant.
What can you tell me about...
It's a tricky situation.
That's all.
What is it, brother?
I found this piece of parchment. It looks like it's been ripped out of a book. Do you know what it is?
It appears to be a page torn out of Ovid.
Ovid? What is that? Is it the name of a book?
Not what, but who? Ovid was a great Roman poet. We have a few volumes by him in the library, but one of them vanished one day. Now I believe I can guess what happened. Brother Eustace, may the earth rest lightly on him, was quite narrow-minded when it came to classical literature. If a book had any mention of woman at all, he condemned it as a heretical work. If he'd had his way, all such books would have been burned. Ovid's The Art of Love must have been such a thorn in his side that he stole it from the library, tore it up, and hid the pages wherever he could.
Oh, would you like me to put the book back together again?
Absolutely. Eustace's wits weren't the sharpest, so I'm sure he didn't destroy any of the pages. I imagine he hid them throughout the monastery. It might take you a while to find them all, but when you do, you can rest assured Ovid will return to his rightful place in the library.
Good. I'll look around for it.
Thank you, brother. It's of no great importance, but if you can find all 10 pages, I'll be most grateful.
Where should I look?
If I knew, I wouldn't have asked you to do it. The pages of the book could be hidden anywhere, from the garden to the refectory.
I've heard there are some forbidden books locked up in the library.
That's correct. They're here, safely hidden away from anyone who might be tempted to read them.
How does a book get on the forbidden list?
Forbidden works are full of heresy and blasphemy and witchcraft. If you ask me, we should burn them immediately, not archive them.
Could a book be prohibited by mistake? Maybe a good book or a useful one?
No errors are made. Every book on the prohibited list is there for a reason. Who am I to doubt the wisdom of Mother Church?
I don't need to hear anything else. I'm here to work.
Good. This is most likely the first time you've ever done this in your life. But it's easier than you think. Just a bit of practice and learning Latin. Here's the original, and here are the blank parchments on which you'll copy what you read in the original. Is that clear? Then you may begin, and try not to make a mess of it.
Peace be with you, brother.
Can you read at all? I've never seen so many mistakes.
The forbidden books must be in that cabinet.
The books stored in there aren't for your eyes to see.
What would you like?
Is it possible to learn something about the other novices in the library?
Only the abbot and the prior keep such records.
And can I see them?
No. The abbot writes and keeps his records in his chambers, and only he and the prior are permitted to read them.
Last time, I can't tell you. Something is gonna happen out there.
You might be wrong. Besides,
In unum Deum, Patrem omnipotentem, Factorem Caeli et Terrae, visibilium hominum et invisibilium.
let him not shut his eyes to the faults of offenders, but, since he has the authority, let him cut out those faults by the roots as soon as they begin to appear. Remembering the fate of Heli, the priest of Silo. For well-disposed and those of good understanding, let him correct with verbal admonition the first and second time. But bold...
What are you doing here?
What are you doing here?
Well, probably the same as you. I want to be able to read in peace and quiet. And not just the books they make us read.
What exactly do you read here?
Well, I'd be interested to find the unofficial biography of Saint Procopius, but there probably is no such thing. To be honest, I was expecting some entertaining reading, but it's just the same old stuffy nonsense. But if that locked cabinet there with all the forbidden books was open, that would be a different story. Until recently it was still unlocked, but after something vanished, they've kept it locked tight.
Maybe I could get inside.
Oh, that would be wonderful. I'd love to pore over some of those tomes. We'd be in it together, up to our ears in it. What do you say?
We'll see what I can do. Ah, this looks like the Saracen language.
Unbelievable. Imagine these men could have been burned at the stake just for writing these books. Many were, I'm sure. It's mostly Latin, that's not much use. But what about this one? Magical potions for conjuring diverse apparitions. I'll take it.
Hey, you better leave that here.
What are you so afraid of? No one will notice if one or two books are missing. This one looks interesting. A sorcerer's potion for rematerializing the body physical in other realms and for conversing with spirits of all manner therein. Oh, I have to try it out. I'll remember the recipe and prepare it later. Sleeping, not scaring.
What have we here? That's it. The book with information about the novices. Interesting. But I still don't know which one of them is pious.
Peace be with. Ah, Gregor, talk to me.
Here I am.
You're late, but perhaps we can still make it. Once we're outside, we'll need to be careful, and we'll need to be quick. If we're not back before sunrise, someone will realize we've gone, and there'll be hell to pay.
Where exactly are we going for the wine?
Next to the monastery is the house of the custodian, a baron who provides military protection to the monastery. We'll take the wine from him.
How do we do that once we're there? Will we need to break into the custodian's cellar?
You needn't break in anywhere. It's on the ground floor and usually unlocked. It holds supplies for the whole craftsman's yard, and every now and again, someone comes in to fetch something. The only thing we have to make sure is that nobody sees us.
What particular wine are the cicadas after?
They want some Znaimo wine, but there's no way we'll be able to tell what's what. We'll just grab a cask and head off. I doubt the custodian would have anything of poor quality in his cellar.
The brothers will complain.
They'll complain even more if they've nothing to drink at all.
Why go to all that trouble? Aren't the monastery wine cellars full?
They are, but Brother Celerius keeps records of all the casks, and the prior checks them. They'd investigate if any went missing. Whereas, if someone outside loses the odd cask, they're not going to suspect us monks.
That does sound reasonable. I'm ready. We can head off.
Alright. You have the outside keys, so get unlocking.
you're a fine fellow. Show us what you've been hiding.
Stop.
Praise be to our Lord Jesus.
What do you desire, Brother Gregor?
Here's the book you wanted.
Amazing. This really is it. Now I can use it to prepare a cure for our suffering abbot. Then I'll leave it in the library to make it seem as if Brother Librarian left it lying about. There'll be no investigation. It would be against his best interests, as he'll look like the one who wasn't taking proper care of the books. It will drive him mad. I didn't leave that book out, or did I? Is there anything I can do for you in return?
Oh, just forget about it. I've discovered something about the wrongs being committed here.
I see. Tell me more.
The older brothers are picking on novice Lucas, punishing him when he doesn't deserve it and humiliating him.
It seems that now even brothers can't avoid worldly evil. Thank you for the information, and if you can, stand up for him. The older brothers are also out to get me. Any action I take, they'll try to use against me.
That's all I know.
If you find out anything else, come to me. I'd be interested to hear it.
Praise be to our Lord Jesus.
Praise be to Christ, brother.
Nevlis wanted me to steal a forbidden book from the library.
Really? Well, this must be a dream. Actually, this would never have occurred to me, even in my wildest dreams. Which book? What did he want it for?
What was that writer called? Avicenna, a pagan and a Mohammedan. He wanted to use it to help heal Abbot Peter.
What? That dirty louse thinks he can steal magic books and use them to curse good Christians? Well, he shan't, as long as my name's John.
I don't think it's really like that. It was a medicinal book, and Nevlis had good intentions.
Brother, if the book is forbidden, there is a good reason for it. Forbidden books are full of magic, blasphemy, and witchcraft. There's no excuse for reading them, let alone stealing them from where they've been safely hidden away. Neville has committed a grave offense, and he'll pay for it. But listen, brother, for the time being, keep it to yourself. Now, you've helped me greatly, but I'll save it for when Nevillus begins elbowing his way into the elections. The power of truth is greatest when its timing is right.
As you wish. I'm glad I could help.
I won't forget it.
Praise be to Christ, brother.
I've heard you're from Vlashin.
Yes, why do you ask? And more importantly, where did you hear it? Since I'm quite sure I've never told you. Honestly, the monks like to gossip more than old wives at the market.
Because I've heard otherwise. You aren't from Vlashin. You made it all up.
And who told you that? Whoever it was, he's a liar. It's complete nonsense.
I need to make a confession.
I'm no priest, but tell me what you've done. It's probably nothing to worry about.
I'm here in the monastery looking for a thief. He had a hand in burning down the Neuhof stud.
You don't say. And who are you to take such an interest?
Someone whose job it is to investigate the case, find the perpetrators, and make sure they get the punishment they deserve.
Punishment? Do you intend to punish them here, in the monastery?
I don't know yet. I'm still just on their trail. Perhaps you could help me find him?
The missing thief? If I knew anything, I'd tell you, but I suppose it must be one of the novices. I've only recently heard about the Neuhof incident. Nor the other brethren have been here much longer than that.
I know. Aside from me, there are only 4 novices, but still, I don't know which one he could be.
3? Please, leave me out of it. And you're right that it could be any one of them. No one knows anything about Lukas. Siskin might be a lot of things, but a monk isn't one of them. And Yodok is a slimy worm. It wouldn't surprise me if he was behind that massacre. Actually, the more I think about it, the less I like that Yodok. He's a treacherous rat who'd do anything to get in someone's good books. The thought of Yodok at Neuhof sends chills up my spine.
I don't think it was him. But please, don't tell a soul what we've been talking about.
Don't fret, my friend. Your secrets are locked inside my lips.
I know you're Pius, the man I've been looking for.
So you're finally sure? Tell me, Gregor, or Karl, or whatever your true name is. What do you want to do now?
I don't know. I'm not sure what I should do.
Well, at least you're prepared to think and not just play bloodhound for a pack of nobodies. And I'm glad you have your doubts.
I don't want to be like the people I'm looking for. If I have to kill, it should be for a reason, not because I enjoy it.
You know, we're both pawns in someone else's game. They have plans for us. But we don't have to let them use us. We can just forget all about it and go our own way. I was a bandit, and I was at Neuhof. I've robbed and stolen, but I swear to God I've never in my life slain innocent people. What I saw at Neuhof made me realize my life was worth shit, but I still had a chance to change for the better. Here in the monastery I've had plenty of time to think things over, but then you showed up and fucked it all up.
So the evildoer changes his ways and finds God. What exactly are you proposing?
Both of us can leave this place. You can go back to your people, and I can go somewhere where I can live out my life in peace, and no one will try to kill me. If we work together, we can both get what we want.
What if I wanted a different option?
You could kill another novice, I suppose. If news of the murder got out from the monastery, my former friends might believe I'm dead. But I'm offering you a solution that doesn't require any killing. Before we make a run for it, we'll make it look like someone's killed me. Loads of blood, a tattered scrap of my habit, and footprints leading towards the river. No one will bother looking for my body there. There we'll split up. You go for your bounty, and I'll get as far away from here as I can.
Good. Let's do it your way.
Good. I'm glad that despite our initial discord, we could reach an agreement. Here, take something to calm your stomach. Now we'll need the keys to the monastery and some blood to make the tracks.
What are you going to do?
I need to get ready for a long journey. Prepare supplies, get some normal clothing somehow. That sort of thing. You can escape in that habit, but I need to vanish as fast as I can.
What do I need the keys to the monastery for?
How else will we get out? This place is practically a prison.
Do you mean these keys?
What? I'm not going to ask you how you got your hands on those, you devious lad.
And where am I supposed to get my hands on blood in a monastery?
You'll find a parchment in the kitchen with a list of ingredients on it. All the things they're ordering. Add blood for making soup to the list. And when it's delivered the next day, take it before anyone notices it's even come.
All right, that's everything I need to know. I can get started.
Excellent. Come and see me once you have everything. And try to be as fast as you can. And Gregor, thank you.
Let him not shut his eyes to the faults of offenders, but, since he has the authority, let him cut out those faults by the roots as soon as they begin to appear. Remembering the fate of Heli, the priest of Silence, the well-disposed and those of good understanding, let him correct...
Talk to me, brother.
I'm here to work.
Excellent. I've been waiting for you. There's the alchemist's laboratory. You'll find ingredients in the chests next to it. Today it's your task to concoct 2 potions to aid digestion. Once you finish them, you'll find me somewhere nearby. Don't forget to let me know when you're done so I can check them. Ah, Gregor, talk to me.
I've finished my work.
Show me what you've made. Spectacular, Gregor. You've found your talent. Soon enough, you'll be teaching the other novices.
What would you like?
I'd like to ask you something about the monastery. Who would you like to be the new abbot?
John, there's no other candidate. Nevlas just babbles on and on. Don't take him seriously.
What is it, brother?
I have all the pages of the torn-up book. The Art of Love can go back to the library.
Oh, brother, you can't even imagine how happy you've made me. Since you're clearly a true lover of books, I'll give you a reward I've never given another novice. I'll lend you the key to the cabinet containing forbidden books, and you can look at the peculiar things we've accumulated there. That cabinet's strictly off limits to novices, but you've earned my trust. I'm sure you'll recognize that those books contain nothing but dangerous gibberish, and there's a valuable lesson to be learned there.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate your trust. I'm here to work.
Excellent. I've been waiting for you.
Peace be with you, brother.
What would you like?
I have everything we need for the escape.
Excellent. Straight after Vespers, we'll meet in the dormitory. We'll have to get it all done before the monks have finished dinner.
What exactly is your plan? And why can't we do it at night?
We're going to prepare a little riddle they'll never solve. And why at mealtime? Because we need the dormitory as well as the church to be empty. Then at night we'll escape. Do you follow? Take everything with you and don't forget the keys.
Good. Once evening mass ends, I'll be in the dormitory.
Credo in unum Deum, Patrem omnipotentem, factorem celi et terrae, visibilium omnium et invisibilium, et in unum Dominum Iesum Christum, Filium Dei unigenitum, et ex Patre natum ante omnia saecula. Deum de Deo, lumen de lumine, Deum verum de Deo, genitum non factum, consubstantialem Patri, et quem omnia facta sunt, cuius regni non erit finis, et in Spiritum Sanctum Dominum, et vivificantem, qui ex Patre Filioque procedit, qui cum Patre et Filio simul adoratur, et con glorificat profetas. Amen.
Praise be to God. For a moment there I was worried you weren't coming. Give me that blood. This is the exact spot where you pushed me off the gallery. And here's where you dragged my lifeless body. Thank you for helping me out. Now we must each go our own way.
Well, I can't just let you leave. You're a criminal.
What are you on about? Did you really help me escape just to betray me?
I'm truly sorry, but you were there at the Neuhoff massacre, and you're a valuable witness. I'm taking you to the bailiff.
Gregor, you can't be serious. I thought I won't be taken anywhere. I'd rather die than lose my freedom.
Go! I'm gonna enjoy.
Cunt.
This is one of the men who raised Neuhoff. He should be able to tell you something useful. But I need to ask a favor. I need you to keep him out of sight so his accomplices don't know he's been caught.
Fine work, and I'll do as you say. I'll find a deep, dark hiding place where no one will hear me interrogate him. And while we're at it, I'll have your things brought here. Wait here a while,